Hello everybody and welcome back to a new video, and in today's video we have a new airport update, this time for February 2023, and this is the Luton airport update. I'm trying this on the old mat as well, so yeah, first of all we've got this Ryanair 737 MAX 8 and he is off to Dublin as FR6645. Next up we've got an EasyJet A319 and he is off to Amsterdam as U22151. Next up we've got an LL777 and he's off to Tel Aviv as LY212. Next up we've got a Wizz Air A321 and he is off to Warsaw as W61302. Next up we've got a La Compagnie 757 and he is off to Newark as BO006. Next up we've got a Monarch A320 and he is off to Gibraltar as ZB68. Next up we've got an EasyJet A320 and he's off to Turin as U22121. Next up we've got an EasyJet A321neo and he's off to Tel Aviv as U22085. Next up we've got an EasyJet 737 and he's off to Salzburg as U22115. Next up we've got a Ryanair 737 MAX 8 and he's off to Kaunas as FR6406. Next up we've got another Ryanair 737 and he's coming from Lublin as FR6640. Next up we've got a Ryanair Buzz 737 MAX 8 and he's coming from Krakow as FR1812. Next up we've got a Malta Air 737 and he's coming from Bologna as FR3407. Next up we've got a Wizz Air A320 and he's off to Cluj-Napoca as W63302. Next up we've got a Wizz Air A320 and he's off to Budapest as W62202. Next up we've got an EasyJet A319 and he arrived in from Lisbon as U22366. Next up we've got a Ryanair 737 and he's off to Turin as FR9670. Next up we've got a Wizz Air A321 and he's off to Bucharest as W63008. Next up we've got Wizz Air A320neo and he's off to Tirana as W94465. Next up we've got an EasyJet A320neo and he's off to Amsterdam as U22157. Next up we've got an EasyJet A320 and he's off to Lyon as U22419. Next up we've got a Vueling A321 and he's arrived in from Amsterdam as VY8404. Next up we've got an EasyJet A321neo and he is off to Tenerife South as U22037. Next up we've got an EasyJet A319 and he is off to Geneva as U22231. Next up we've got a TUI 737 and he is off to Innsbruck as BY5642. Next up we've got a Ryanair 737 and he's landed in from Cork as FR7681. Next up we've got another Ryanair 737 in the Boeing livery and he's arrived in from Faro as FR5766. Next up, we've got a 2E787, and he's arrived in from Birmingham. And the last one for today's update, we have a 2E767, and he's off out to Amsterdam. So I hope you guys all enjoyed this update. If you did, please comment, like and subscribe, and I'll see you all in the next video. Bye.